Good morning, everyone. My name is Lynn Ashton, and I am the Chairman of the Board and Grants Committee Chair for the Honorable Order of Kentucky Colonels. Today, we're excited to host our second webinar on the 2019 Grant Workshop for our nonprofits throughout the state of Kentucky. We are hoping this will be easier for all of you than traveling to another site, and we do welcome any feedback that you have for improvement in the future. I would like to thank all of you for joining us today to learn more about the Kentucky Colonels and our 2019 Good Works Program grant application. Joining me today is the Executive Director of the Kentucky Colonels, Sherry Croce, and Eric Patterson, our Grants Administrator.
Good morning.
Good morning.
To give you an overview of all that we will be covering today, we'll start by giving a brief history and changes to the process for 2019, and then we will cover our grants guidelines. After that, Eric and Sherry will give you a brief overview of the new grant software system, and we know that you are going to think that this is an improvement because you will be able to save rather than have to do your grant at one setting. I would also like to point out that there is a tab titled Handouts to the right of the screen. This tab has copies of our 2019 grant guidelines as well as some helpful tips for the new system. I do recommend downloading and reviewing all of this. It is important to know that the handouts will go into greater detail and provide more information than we can cover in today's presentation. I would like to start with a brief history about our organization and our grants program over the years. Kentucky Colonels date back to 1813 when the first Kentucky Colonel was commissioned. The Colonels officially began awarding grants in 1951, and since that time have granted out over $48 million. Currently, we're granting $2 million a year as we strive to reach our goal of granting over $5 million annually. In 2018, we awarded $2 million to 231 organizations across the Commonwealth. These grant dollars are generated through the generosity of 30,000 active colonels in every state and 49 countries who all contribute to our Good Works program on an annual basis. Now let's move on to changes for 2019. First, grant applications will now be completed through our online grant software. This will allow you to save your application, allow for easier communication about your application, and allow for historic materials to be saved in the system. This year, you will need to mail only 2 complete applications to the Colonels instead of 3 as in previous years. After submitting your application online, 2 complete copies with all necessary attachments and bids need to be mailed within 24 hours of your submission online. I need to let you know that we will be verifying the mailing date with the date it was submitted online. And if this step is not completed, your application will not move forward. You will be able to print a complete application packet through the online software. Your application must be postmarked no later than February 16th, 2019. This is just the copies of your application, as you will be able to see your application and its status through our online grant software. Also new this year is our small grant application form. If you are requesting a grant for $2,499 or less, you will be eligible to fill out a shorter application for the 2019 grant cycle. You can access this application in the same area where our main application will be located. Eric will be going over the new software later in this webinar. We highly recommend submitting your application as early as possible to allow us to carefully review your application and inform you of any necessary changes that you will need to make. This next item is extremely important. If submitted right at the deadline, there may be no time for corrections due to the timing of our review process. What does this mean? It means that if the application is not entirely correct, your grant request could very well be negatively impacted. This year, we have changed the way that you will provide your financial information. We are requesting you to upload your organization's balance sheet and profit loss statement instead of filling in a budget sheet like we have prepared in years past. If you are a part of a multi-hospital system, please note that only one hospital per system is eligible to apply per year. If awarded a grant, that hospital may not receive a grant in the next cycle. Multi-hospital system is defined as any hospital corporation operating 5 or more facilities within the Commonwealth. How to apply? Starting in November, on November 26th, you will be able to access our online grant system to create your account. Once your account is created, you will see the available applications. The first thing that you want to complete is the letter of intent, or LOI form. It will start by asking you a few eligibility questions and then ask you to upload your LOI on your letterhead along with a copy of your tax-exempt certificate from the IRS. After submission, we will review your LOI and you will receive an email giving you access to complete the full or small application form. The applications will not be open for submission until Monday, December 3rd, 2018. Let's look at the timeline. Next, I would like to go over the grant cycle for 2019. As mentioned before, on November 26th, 2018, you are eligible to create your account and complete the LOI form. You will see the application in the same area as the LOI for you to complete. Your applications must be submitted online no later than Friday, February 15th at 11:55 p.m. After that time, the system will no longer allow you to submit any application. We strongly recommend submitting your application well before the deadline to give enough time for us to review your application and ask you any questions that we may have. After being reviewed by Eric and myself, the grants will then be reviewed by our grant committee, and then several of the grants will then be given to our trustees. They will be contacting you to set up a site visit and to ask you some questions about the application that you have submitted. After all grants are reviewed, they will be voted on at our September board meeting. You will be notified sometime in mid-September whether or not your grant was approved or denied. If your grant is approved, you will have from the date that you receive your approval letter until December 13th, 2019 to turn in all receipts and submit all notarized documentation. At this time, let's review the 2019 grant guidelines. You will be asked to answer several eligibility questions when you submit your LOI form. Please again go to the handouts section where you will find those questions listed. Funding is limited to items or projects that can be seen, felt, or touched. Requests for funding from the Kentucky Colonels should be for projects that will directly benefit as many of your clients as you can possibly serve. Here is a list of several items that we will not fund. We will not fund advertising. We will not fund design work. We will not fund anything for your staff. Again, let me say, please go to the handouts section where you will find a complete list of items that we will not fund or any limitations that may be put upon items. Should funds be awarded, you will have until Friday, December 13th, 2019, to provide the Kentucky Colonels notarized documentation specific to the expenditures to claim your grant monies. You will not receive your check until all notarized documentation has been received by the Colonels. All items must be purchased between the date of the grant award, the receipt of your letter, and Friday, December 13th, 2019. If the deadline for grant completion cannot be met, the recipient must request by email an extension. If the funding commitment is to remain into effect, you will receive an email confirming your extension. Such requests must be received no later than Friday, November 29th, 2019. Please be aware that very few extensions are granted and require extreme circumstances. For example, in the past, we have granted an extension to an organization that was waiting to hear back from a federal grant. Another example of an extension that we have granted was when the person completing the grant had a major health issue and was unable to complete their documentation by the deadline. We do understand that issues may arise, but please know that it does take a significant reason for you to be approved for a grant extension. Matching grants. The Kentucky Colonels may find a request worthy, but beyond the financial capabilities of the Good Works program. In such a case, a commitment to provide partial funding on a matching basis may be issued. The actual commitment of funds will be made upon receipt of the notarized statement that the additional dollars needed to complete the grant have been secured and receipt of the purchase that has been received along with the proper notarized documentation. Grant recipients are expected to acknowledge the Kentucky Colonels. Items such as plaques, decals, vanity license plates will be provided to the recipient by the Colonels and should be used by the recipient to publicize the grant. If not provided by the Kentucky Colonels, will need approval. And let me give you an example. For instance, if you are looking to receive books, people normally want to provide their own book plate. We will need to approve that book plate or decals before they are placed in the book. Reciprocal PR is expected in the form of social media and newsletters. If approved for a grant, we may be reaching out to you for information such as pictures, quotes, or other relevant information for the grant received. We have provided a follow-up form through the grant system for you to upload information mentioned above. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Eric and Sherry to go over the new grant system and application changes.
Thank you, Lynn. And I want to dovetail just a little bit on the details of the PR. We have Kentucky Colonels across the Commonwealth that are active, and we want to show them the nonprofits that they support, and they're in your communities. So that's why we would like the PR and the reciprocal PR. And we also do newsletters to our active Colonels, e-blast to our Colonels, and we like to highlight the nonprofits within the Commonwealth. You will see as Eric starts this process with the grant application, many of the questions are the same as this year. It's just a different format. So at this point, Eric, I think we're ready, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start by showing you what the registration process will look like. After you click create new account via the link provided on our website, or if I send it to you, this will be the screen you are taken to. You'll start out by entering in your organization information, and then with your address and website and all that. And then if you click next, it will then ask you to enter in your user information as the person filling out the grant. You can see here there's a copy address from organization information above. This will make it a little bit quicker for you to fill out. After you fill that in, you can scroll down and click next. It will ask you if you are the organization's executive director. If you click no, it'll then take you to this next screen where you can enter in the information about the executive director. It'll ask you the same contact information as user information, and you can also copy the address again from above, make it a little quicker. The last step of the registration process was to enter in a password and then you can finish the registration process.
Please make sure you write that password down. As we know, we all have different passwords. Just write it and put it in a secure place, please.
Fill that in real quick. And then When you're finished, you can click create account here, and it will take you to this screen, which is where you will verify whether or not you received an email from the system. This is an important step because this is how we will send you updates on the status of your application or ask you any questions. After receiving the email, you can click here and then click the blue continue button to move on to your dashboard. As you see here, once you log in, you'll see the available applications and then the brief information about the application as well as the timeline. When you're ready, you can click the blue apply button here, and it will take you to the first step, which is the LOI or letter of intent form. You'll see here, you can see your applicant information, organization information, and you can also edit it at any time clicking this pencil button shown here. It will ask you a few brief eligibility questions as Lynn went over earlier in the webinar. And then the next step will be entering some information about your organization and the county that your main office is located in. After that, you can enter in some brief information about the items or project you are requesting, as well as the amount you are requesting. This is important because after you submit your letter of intent, you will be unable to change this information. To upload the two requested forms, your letter of intent, and then your tax exempt status, you can click on these upload file buttons. After it's been uploaded, you will see that you're able to view it at any time or delete the uploaded file. After all information has been completed, you can click this blue Submit LOI button to let us know you're ready for us to approve it. You'll be taken to this page, which is a confirmation page showing that it has been successfully submitted, and you will also receive an email at this step letting you know that we are now able to review it. When you click continue, it'll take you back to the dashboard where you can see the status of your LOI and when it was submitted. You can click here at any time to view it, and then at this time, I'm going to go ahead and navigate to a different part of the system to show you what the application looks like.
As Eric is navigating to pull it up, there's a couple things that I want to highlight. Again, this application looks very similar to last year's. And as you know, if you have applied to us, we ask for bids for the items, and we like 3 bids for each item you'd like to do or project. If it's a project, please see that the contractor will hold the price for till the end of December of 19. If it is an item you're purchasing, let's say your 3 bids are from Walmart, Target, and Meijer, you will want to make sure that that item price is, again, good for 2019. So meaning don't take the sale price unless you know that sale price will be the price in December or September of 2019. We have quite a few changes because you all are very fiscally responsible. You want to give us the lowest price, but then in the long run, that ends up holding up your application. So at this point, it looks like Eric has the application online and up, and I'm going to turn it back to him.
Okay, as you will see here, in the status bar, you will now see a line that says application assigned. When you are ready to start the application, you can click this edit application here. It will always say edit even if you haven't started it. So when you're ready to start the application, click here. You'll notice that the screen now displays application at the top. And then again, you are able to see your applicant information and organization information and edit it at any time. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here. You'll see the first several questions are similar to the LOI form, and they will be unable to be changed. And now I'm going to kind of go ahead and scroll down to the grant item request sheet, where it'll show you the differences with the online system.
And as you see, as he scrolls down, there's character limits for a lot of these blocks. We have increased those character limits because we heard you last year on you need more space, but please know we had to put character limits there. Eric and the Board of Trustees will be reviewing upwards to 500 grant applications. Honestly, we cannot read War and Peace novels, so we have to have character limitations. Again, we've upped some, but understand we just have to do that to make this process work smoothly.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you the grant item request sheet here. It does look similar as in years past. We did add 5 extra spots in case for those of you who request multiple items. If you need more than one sheet, you can also save multiple and then scan them together before you upload. This column is where you'll enter in the items requested, and then 3 bids per each item is what we will need. And these column here at the end will also calculate the totals for you. And then when you are finished, you can save and upload via either one of these file uploads if you have an extra one.
Those upload files can be Word, they can be a PDF, they can be an Excel form. We're not requiring any particular form. And the upload file you see, the please upload copies of your bids. This is a perfect example where, and I'm going to state, maybe your organization needs furniture for a community room for your youth programs. So if that furniture is being bid out to Amazon, Target, and Walmart, and you've put those on your bid sheet, take those individual quotes, scan them together, and label them furniture for group room and upload them all together. You can do it that way. You could upload the Amazon singly and the Target singly, or do it by item. We'd prefer it by item, but we've given you 5 options here. You can upload those files. And again, I don't want to make this basic, but for some of you, this is printing them out, scanning them on your computer, or scanning them on your copier, loading them to your computer, and uploading from here.
Yeah, and if you have any questions with that part of it, you can always call and ask me as well, and I can walk you through that process. And now I'm going to scroll on down to the financial section. These questions are all the same as years past as well if you've applied from us before. And then down here, you'll see we are now requesting the last 2 years balance sheet and profit loss statements. And again, you'll see where you can upload those files as above. And we're hoping this will make it easier on you instead of filling in the budget sheet as in years past. Now I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here to the part about your 990s. And we are asking that you upload your 2 most recent 990s. And then if you are not required to file 990, you can attach the proof of exemption via either file upload.
Let me point out here, we only need your first and second pages of your 990. And if let's say you get a 990 extension, which several nonprofits do the past 990s that you have, such as 16-17 or 17-18. But if you have an extension for the current year, which would be 2018, it's okay to do the 17 and the 60 990s.
Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and scroll to the bottom of the page to show you where you can save or submit your application. If you click this button, you can save your application at any time. The system will also auto-save if it's been left unattended for a while. And then when you are ready, you can hit Submit Application. And this is where we recommend submitting it early once you are complete. That way we have time to review it. And if we have any questions, we can send it back to you for those questions.
Let me jump in on that, what Eric just said. We like to give everybody an opportunity to correct at least one error if they made an error on their application. And this is where if you send them in early, because as soon as you hit the submit button, Eric is going to start reviewing these applications. He will reach out to you if you have missed something or if he sees an error, and we want to help you correct that error. If you wait till the end, Eric is reviewing hundreds of applications. He won't be able to be as detailed after February 15th as he is if you submit it in January. If there are changes, you won't need to submit your complete another hard copy. He will just ask you to email him those changes, and he will attach it to the 2 hard copies that you have mailed to us earlier. And those hard copies, one goes to the Board of Trustees who is vetting your grant, the other goes to the grants chair.
And then, as mentioned earlier, we are requesting that you mail in the 2 complete copies. You can do that after you're finished by clicking this application packet shown here. And this application packet will be a PDF, which includes all necessary attachments as well. And then there's also this question list right here if you would like to print out a blank application just to see the list of questions that is available for you. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and then I'm going to let Lynn take over.
Thanks, Eric and Sherry. Great job. At this time, I just want to go over a few of the frequently asked questions and really to reinforce some of the same items that you have already heard as when you're listening to this webinar. Do we have to have 3 bids? Absolutely, you do where possible. We do recognize that there are some instances where maybe only 1 or 2 bids are possible. I can give you an example of one youth organization where we have purchased uniform for some of the youth. There is only one place where they can buy them. But please also know, if you send something into us and we really think that there could be more than 1 or 2, then we are going to look online and do some research ourselves and see if we can find a 3rd. So make sure that you do a lot of research and then you know exactly what you're sending into us. If you do only have 1 or 2, at the bottom of that form, when you fill it out, there is a place for notes. You are going to want to put in the reason why you only have 1 or 2 bids and not 3 full bids. What is the general range of requests regarding dollars that we receive? I would say, probably anywhere from $850 all the way up to the 20,000s. Have we received requests for more than that? We absolutely have. And we have received requests for less than that. What we do ask that you please take into consideration is we have $2 million. And we have $2 million to give to organizations throughout the state of Kentucky, not just in certain areas. I can give you a really extreme example. A couple of years ago, we had an organization who requested $1.2 million. I can share with you, as I'm sure you understand, that request did not move forward. And in all honesty, some of the committee members were saying, well, don't they know who we are and what it is that we do? Also remember that no matter whether your grant is a small one or a larger one, we want to fund your needs. We're not looking to fund your wants. We wish that we had the money to fund both your needs and your wants, but at this point in time, we don't. So make sure that the items you are requesting from us are really things that you need and not something that your organization would just love to have. What if the quotes that you receive are only guaranteed for a short period of time? This is very, very important because we have had some issues with this year. Again, I want to repeat what Sherry said. If you are going online, if you are going to an Amazon, Target, I don't care where you go, and the products that you are looking for are on sale, please do not use the sale price. Go with the regular price. If you are using a contractor, make sure that when you meet with those contractors that they are aware of the fact that the work is being funded through grants and that they know that the money will not be received until sometime. You'll not know if you have the dollars until sometime mid-September or after. So really make sure that they put down on their bid to you that their price is held through the end of 2019. That is extremely important. Let me also say that If the price increases, as most of you know who have applied with us before, please know that you will only receive the amount of money that you requested in your grant application. You will not receive extra dollars. And so if you put down the regular price for an item that you have found on Amazon or Target or any of the other sites, and that item, it happens to be on sale, when you order it, please know that we will only pay for the amount of money that that product cost you. We will not allow you to use the extra dollars that you had requested. And we are trying, again, to serve as many nonprofits and do as much as we can with the money that we have. So, kind of the last frequently asked question that I'll go over is, will I be notified if I am rejected? You will be notified if your grant is rejected. You'll receive a letter, and that letter will share with you the reason or reasons why your grant was rejected. And we hope that this then helps you when you're applying to us in the future. If a grant is rejected, it doesn't mean by any means that you are not allowed to apply to us in the future. So I also want to remind you, these are only a few of the frequently asked questions that we have. If you go to the site and you go to handouts, again, you are going to find many more. You're going to find much more detail than we have been able to share with you here today. This is to catch the highlights, to let you see the software system and the grant form that you will be working with. So at this point, I would certainly like to thank all of you again for joining us for this webinar. If you have any questions, please refer to the 2019 guidelines provided. You may reach out to Eric Patterson. His email is epatterson@kykernels.org, or you can call the office at 502-266-6114. I will also state that if you do have a question, it's always better to talk with Eric before you start filling out anything. It saves you a lot of time. It will save us a lot of time and hassle in the future for all of us. You won't have to be sent back to be making changes. So anyway, again, we thank you. We thank you so much for all you do for the people of the state of Kentucky. We would like to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving and a blessed holiday season. And please continue the good work that you do. Thanks.